Hi everyone. So welcome to this session on how to prepare for CLAT QT section. Lot of students fear quantitative techniques in CLAT and the other law entrance exams as well. So here I am to guide you with respect to how you should be approaching the CLAT QT section. But before that, let us have a look at CLAT 2025 actual QT set. I have taken 3 questions and see how much time it takes to solve those questions and how your approach should be in tackling to this question. So let's see the set.
To book a free one-on-one law counseling online or at any IMS center, check out the link in the description box or the pinned comment below.
So if I look at the set here, let's read this set. Mr. Das is working in a construction company. He has a family including his wife and a daughter. His total monthly income includes salary of 9,228 and a 10% house rent allowance. Due to increasing inflation, he is keeping a home budget that accounts for income and expense of the household. Out of his total monthly income, he spent 10%, 25% on food expenses, 18% paying rent, 9% on entertainment, 23% on education and 13% on medical expenses, and he saves 12% of total monthly income. Now this is the set given to us and there are 6 questions based on this set. I have taken only 3 questions. The objective here is to make you understand these questions are not very difficult, can be tackled easily if you have basic understanding of numbers, and I have taken one question where there is a shortcut technique. If you do not apply the shortcut technique, you will probably end up spending 2 or 3 more minutes. Let's look at the first question. How much money does Mr. Das has to pay as the house rent? So if I look at the house rent here, house rent he is supposed to pay 18%. Now 18% of his income. So what is his income? 9,228 plus 10% as the house rent allowance. So if I have to calculate 10% here, it will be 922.8 is the 10%, correct? Now if you add them, what do you get? This is 0, this is 5, this is 1 and this is 1, 0. So it is 10150.8. For simplicity, we will assume it to be 10151. We will assume this number for the entire set. 10151 is the income, monthly income. It says that it's a monthly income, correct? It says that the total monthly income. Do not get confused with monthly income and the annual income, correct? Now I need to simply calculate what is 18% of this value. So if I need to calculate 18% of this value, there are 2 ways to look at it. One, you say 10% plus 8%, or you say 20% minus 2%. You can simply multiply this by 18 and get it. Or what I would suggest is, if I have to calculate 18%, I would say that let me calculate 20% minus 2%. Because if I calculate 20%, 2% is simply removing that one decimal, shifting one decimal, I'll get my 2%, correct? So what is 20%? 10% will be this value, 1015, we'll say 1015.1, let's ignore that, 1015. So 20% will be double of this value, that will be 2030, correct? And what will be 2%? 2% will be 203, correct? This is 20%, so 2% should be 203. So 203. I simply need to subtract these two values. What will I get? I'll get this as 7, this is 2, and this is 18. So my answer is 1827, which is answer option A. Now I can see here that none of the options are very close, and hence I was able to approximate this as 10151. I was able to ignore that 0.1. If in case very bleak chances, if in case the options are very close, then only then we will go ahead with the exact numbers. Okay. Let's take the next example. So if I look at this, if Mr. Das get 12% annual interest on the saving and he wishes to save rupees 30,000 in 2 years period, how much extra should he save in the next year basically? So I will calculate the interest that the saving that he does in the first year. So basically first year saving. Now because there is no change in the income, reduction, increase, anything, no change in the percentage change, can I say that the first year saving and the second year saving should be same? Correct? Now if this is X, this is also X, correct? But on the first year saving, he is supposed to get 1.12x because he is getting 12% interest on the first year. Now we need to figure out that if this amount is 30,000 and above or not. If it is less, then in that case, how much is the extra saving he is supposed to be doing? This is the question all about. Correct? Now let's see how can we approach this question. So in the previous question, we had calculated that we will assume the monthly income to be 10151. Now, if I have to calculate 12% of monthly income is this saving. So I'll calculate 12% of this value. 12% is nothing but as 10% plus 2%. So what is 10% of this number? It is 1015.1. Now to calculate 2%, I need to calculate the 1%, which is 101.5. Let's ignore the second decimal. So 2% will be 203. So if I add this, what do I get? 1218 is 1 year's 1 month saving. Now I need to extrapolate this to the entire annual saving. So I'll multiply this by 12. Correct? If I multiply this multiply by 2 will give me 12 2s are 24 and 18 2s are 36. And then this will be 12180. This is the value that I get. Now if you simply add this, what do you get? 6, you get 1, you get 6, you get 4, and this is 1. So in 1 year, he is saving 14616. Second year also he will save the same amount I explained earlier. Now I need to calculate the interest value, 12% interest that he will be earning on this amount. So I need to calculate what is 12% of this, right? So if I have to calculate 12% of this, okay, let me calculate 12% here. So 12% is again, I can break down as 10% and 2%. 10% can be taken as 1461.6. 1461.6, and if I want to calculate 2%, I will say it is double of 146, which is 292. So what is the addition that I'll get? Let's ignore, see, it is 6 here, 3, this is 5, this is 1, and this is 7. This is 1753.6 is the interest that he will get in the second year on the first year saving. Now let us see if this adds up to 30,000 or not, or what is the difference amount. So basically it is this value plus this value, and one more time you will this value, correct? You will add this value. So I need to find the double of this, or probably double of this would be how much? 32, 92, and this is 2 here. Yeah, this is the double. So if I can clearly see here, if I add this value, this will be more than 30k. The amount here given is 30,000. The value is more than 30,000, which means there is no need for saving. Correct? You may feel here that it is quite lengthy, quite tricky, but if you look at it, it might take 2.5 minutes because I was speaking and explaining. It would have taken more time, but as a student, if you know how to calculate the basic percentages, break down 10% and 2%, 12% as 10 and 2%, how to multiply by 12, if you know the basic multiplication and how to calculate the percentages, trust me guys, any calculation on this earth should not take more than a minute's time. Probably as a student, you should not take more than 1.5 minutes to solve this entire question. What did we do? We calculated 12%, then multiplied by 12, then we again calculated 12% and then added all of them. That's it. That's the only thing that we did. Now, you may feel that you are slow at calculation, you are not good at it. So, I mean, when you know that you are not good at calculation, when you are slow at calculation, can you not work on your calculation speed and improve that so that you can score this brownie marks? There are at least 3 to 4 questions in every every QT set, which can become a game changer in your final NLU admits. So it makes sense to work on your weak areas, and we'll see how to work on the weak areas. Let's look at the third question first, and then let's look at the strategy, what the ideal plan should be. Okay, so if I look at this, if the expenditure on the food and entertainment is increased by 10% due to inflation, what will be the new percentage of saving in the same monthly salary? Now here, food and entertainment. So if I look at food here, food expense is 25% and entertainment expense is 9%. So I have to increase 10% on 25%, then I have to increase 10% on 9%, then I have to see what is the other expenditure, and then what is the change in the monthly saving, correct? Trust me guys, this question, I don't need this value at all for this question. That 10151, I don't need this. You can solve by taking that value, calculate the 25% of this value 10151, and then on that you increase by 10%, you calculate 9% of 10151, then increase that by 10%. You can do all those things. Okay, you can do all those things, but then it is waste of time. You will unnecessarily spend, at least you will spend 1.5 minutes more minimum, if not less. The best way to look at this question, food is 25% and entertainment is 9%. So the net is 34%. Now this 34%, we are saying that the expenditure on this increased by 10%. So it will go up by 3.4%. Can I say that? Numerically it will go up by 3.4%. Which means if every other component remains the same, the monthly income numerically from 12%, it should go down by 3.4%. I am saying numerically. See, you cannot say 12% minus 3.4%. You cannot subtract percentages. But numerically 12 minus 3.4, yes, which will be how much? 8.6, and that's my answer. 8.6% is my answer, and that's done. You will not even take 1 minute to solve this question if you solve it like this. Otherwise, you will end up spending 2.5 3 minutes on this particular question. So this is how you are supposed to solve such question, and every year I come across questions in QT. Out of 12 questions, 10, 12 questions, I always come across 1 or 2 questions which can be solved like this by using a shortcut technique. And hence learning those shortcut techniques which are being taught in class is very crucial. You need to remember them, and not only remember them, apply while you are solving practice exercise, and apply them in your sim CLAT as well. Okay, so these are the 3 questions. There are 6 questions as I said earlier, but I have taken only 3 questions. So now let's focus on what you should be doing and how you should be preparing for QT. Don't take QT for granted, because that is something that is game changer. A lot of students, they ignore QT, and from NLSIU Bangalore rank number 1, they either end up getting null star, probably not even null star, they end up getting the rank 4th or rank 5th. Because if you are short of 8 to 10 marks, then you know how much difference does it make, that those 8 to 10 marks. Okay, your rank probably from double digit you can go up to more than 600 800 rank, and you will not get a top 3-4 NLUs, and hence it is important for you to start preparing for QT. So basically here what you need to do is you need to allot at least 2 hours for 2 days per week for QT. Don't run away or don't shy away from solving QT. You may falter, you may not like it, you may cry for a few weeks, but that's absolutely fine. Eventually it is going to gain you an NLU, top 3 NLU admits. Okay. Invest 1.5 hours on most important QT topics for CLAT work. Okay. percentages, ratio proportion, averages, profit and loss, simple interest and compound interest. Most of the question in CLAT has this. I would say not most, almost every question will have either percentages, ratios, averages, concept of this three, and then maybe profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, some sets clubbed with mensuration long back. But otherwise, the top 3-4 topics are more than sufficient. Interest we saw in the previous question, how to calculate interest, and hence I've written here. So spend 1.5 hours out of this 2 hours on these topics. Brush up them. Keep on practicing more and more questions. Start solving word problem. If may not cute a caselet, absolutely fine. Maybe you can do, in this 1.5 hours, start solving a word problem, and last half an hour, you should be solving the QT sets. Solve at least 1 or 2 sets in the half an hour. 2 sets should be solvable. Maybe initially, if you are very weak at maths, you might end up solving only 1 set. But slowly and gradually, every day, if you keep on solving, I am sure that 30 minutes you will come down to 7-8 minutes over next 3 to 4 months. But you need to remember that you don't run away from QT section. Okay. Now, how to prepare for a topic basically. So, learn the basic concepts and formula and the shortcut tricks that we have taught you. Most of the question, I would say most, but there are many shortcut techniques. The one that we saw on the previous question, the third question. So, learn those shortcut techniques, remember them, and see where can you apply it. Understand where to apply those techniques. Solve word problem, we discussed just now. Solve word problem. Solve caselet based question. 1.5 hour concepts word problem, last 30 minutes caselet based question. Work on improving calculation speed and accuracy. So that can be done. Probably take 10 questions on a daily basis and see if you are able to solve them quickly and your accuracy is bang on. So take random number now, 1928 into 13. 14% of 1728. I mean, you can simply create question on your own. So do those 10 question practice on a daily basis and see if you are able to solve those 10 questions in lesser amount of time week after week, and if your accuracy is also increasing. So this is what you need to do to improve your QT. That's it from my end. I am sure this session was helpful, and you will take some learning from this session and start implementing in your weekly schedule. Stay tuned on our IMS Get Set Law channel. All the best for your preparation. Bye bye.